Okay, it is now 6:30, everyone. I'd like to call this first select board meeting of the select board year to order. And I just want to welcome everyone here, including our public. We've got Steve Libby from the Vermont River Conservancy and Steve Lemke, a resident. Welcome, select board members Richard and Rusty. Congratulations on being re-elected.
Thank you.
I know we're all looking forward to another year together. With that, our first order of business is we need to elect a chair and a vice chair for this year. Does anyone want to make a motion to do either individually or together? Zon?
I would like to nominate Richard for chair and Veranda for vice chair.
I will second.
Okay. Because we are remote, we'll take a roll call. Zon?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
And Veranda, welcome.
Oh, hi.
We're voting on chair and vice chair. Zon has.
I'm sorry. I thought that, is it already 6:30?
It is.
6:31.
Zon has nominated Richard as chair and you as vice chair, and you are the final member to vote.
Oh, aye.
Okay. Hearing all of that, the motion carries unanimously. And with that, I will turn the meeting over to Richard as chair.
Well, good evening, and thanks for your confidence. And I'm assuming that you're confident. Thanks for your vote. I look forward to this leadership position again this year, and I'm very happy that I'll be joined by Vice Chair Veranda Porch. Congratulations, Ms. Porch.
Oh, thank you very much.
And we've recognized the public. I'd just like to state, first of all, as chair of the Guilford Select Board, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by Governor Scott as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and pursuant to Addendum 6 to Executive Order 01-20 and Act 92, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. In accordance with Act 92, there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting. However, in accordance with the temporary amendments to the open meeting law, I confirm the following: that we are providing public access via video conference, and we are using Google Meet for that. And the access information is as follows: https://meet.google.com/KUY-FJMC-CSH. Or you can use your telephone and call the following number: 617-675-4444, and punch in the PIN number, which is 486-744-377-9447#. That I'd also like to say that we have posted this meeting access on the Town of Guilford website, which is guilfordvt.net. And we are also providing a mechanism for folks to call in if they can't use any of those, either the Google Meet number or the Google telephone number, and that number is 603-558-0891. And we are also would continue the meeting if in the event the public is unable to access this meeting, it will be continued to a time and place certain. Also, I'd like to, and lastly, point out that because this is a remote meeting, we are voting by roll call. The rules of procedure. We have rules that govern the interaction of the public and the select board, and the basic premise of those rules are that we speak to each other with civility, we wait to be called on, and that we are civil both to the select board members and to our fellow members of the public. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I don't have any, Richard.
Okay, are there any changes to the agenda order?
I have none.
All right, then we will launch right into our agenda. Peter welcomed us. I would like to welcome you again and also say what a pleasure it is to serve with you, particular colleagues. And I'm looking forward to a robust year of working in the service of our town and its residents. We've already elected the chair and the vice chair. The conflict of interest statements, Peter?
So yes, so every year the select board is required by town policy to review the conflict of interest statement, as well as fill out a multi-page questionnaire that clarifies any potential conflict of interest you may have for select board business that we may attend to in the future. Since those are, I believe, 7 or 8 pages long, we're not going to have you fill them out right now, but if you could kindly fill those out and return those to the town office at your convenience, the sooner the better. You can either mail them in or you can make an appointment with Penny to drop them off.
Peter, did you say that you're going to email those to us?
They were shared in the meeting folder preparations for tonight.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it.
Peter, the copy that I see shared in the folder right now seems to be a copy that was signed previously by a previous set of select board members. So I don't know if you intend for us to just sign it and
could they just be emailed separately, like a fresh copy? And
yeah, I would prefer that, Peter, if you could do that.
Well, so I'm happy to email them separately. There is the conflict of interest statement, which is a town policy, which was adopted by a previous select board. You don't have to do anything with that aside from read it and understand it. What you need to then do is read and fill out the conflict of interest statement and questionnaire.
Oh, and that's there in the folder? I didn't see it when I went in, but
I don't see that.
Yep, they're both there. It depends on how you have it organized.
there's a lot in that folder. Could it just be emailed separately? I think that would be best.
Sure, no problem. I'll email it separately.
Because I'm not clear if there's multiple documents or several pages in one document. I mean,
well, like I said, one document is the town policy. The second document is the set of questions that you need to answer.
I see it now. Sorry. I see it there. Yeah. So we should print that out and fill it out and send it back to you if we can do it from here. But you will also email it?
Yes, I'm happy to email it to everyone. It is a PDF, so fill it out, but in however way, either electronically or print it out and email it back to me, or you can just put it in an envelope and mail it to the town office.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that's the conflict of interest statements. And then our next item on the agenda is to readopt the select board rules of procedure. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there
I'll
a second?
second it.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, then I shall take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zahn?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. So that motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, Steve and Steve and Steve. It's the Steve and Steve show. Let's hear about the Green River Meadow project. You're on mute, Steve Lemke.
Thanks for taking some time tonight. My name's Steve Lemke. I live on River Road in Guilford. I'm here tonight with Steve Libby, who's the executive director of the Vermont River Conservancy out of Montpelier. What we're bringing to you tonight is an update on a project that's been about 5 years in the making. And I'm really pleased to see Sheila Morse on this because Sheila's heard this story. Michael's heard this story. Different people, probably Veranda's heard the story, of what we've been doing. But we thought we'd bring sort of a quick history of the project and bring you some good news tonight on progress on the property. So I can tell you it's about 3 years ago, we came to the select board and we said that a group of local citizens were trying to conserve a piece of 16-acre property about 7/10 of a mile south of the Green River Covered Bridge. For any of you who've been here for a while and drove down that road since 1977, in 1977, that piece of property was a beautiful hayfield. By 2000, the year 2000, it was one of the most outrageous junkyards you've ever seen in the state of Vermont. And it took 3 years of work to get it cleaned up and work with the landowner. The select board played a huge role. The Wyndham Solid Waste Management District played a huge role. And ultimately, we sort of won the battle and the war. We got over 150 junk cars, a bunch of insulation, and just trash cleaned up off the property. And it was sold at tax sale to a couple by the name of Jay and Helena Girardi. And from 2000 to about 2017, the Girardis, who were longtime part-time residents, cleaned up the property more. They knocked down a couple buildings that were on the property, and they really turned it into a pristine field right now. And so I can tell you that this piece of property was a hayfield and a junkyard. What it is now is a piece of pristine property that's ready to be preserved. And what we hope it will be is a resource for the town of Guilford, because we're going to open it up for public access. Steve Libby will talk more about that. But in 2017, Jay and Helena Girardi decided, after some work on the property and things, they just couldn't continue to own the property any longer. So they were going to sell it, and they had it on the market. It didn't sell right away. Linda and I approached the Girardis and said, would you ever consider selling that piece of property into a situation where we get a property easement on it and be preserved in perpetuity? Jay and Helena thought about it for a while. They said no at first, and then they came back. And finally, they said, okay, we will. We'll sell it at a reduced rate to whoever you think would make sense. And we said the Vermont River Conservancy. So at that point, we brought the Steve Libby in, and they actually set up a purchase and sale agreement with the Girardis. The Girardis said, well, we'll do it, but we have to have our money by September. I think this was in July or June. And by September, there were a number of issues that precluded us getting the money from the VRC to the Girardis, not the least of which was because it was a junkyard, the piece of property had to have a brownfield study done on it. And the brownfield study went on and on and on. But it was an unbelievable workload up to that point. We got Steve Libby involved, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve now to talk about when he first saw the property and what happened once the brownfield study was underway and then ultimately completed.
Well, greetings, everybody. Thank you for giving us some time to talk about this project. So I'll give you a quick sort of summary of Vermont River Conservancy's involvement. First, I'll say that Vermont River Conservancy is a statewide land trust that focuses on protecting land along Vermont's rivers for public access and ecological purposes. And when Steve and Linda first showed me this property, I'd never met them before, but they called me up and asked if I could come down and look at it. And after chatting with them, standing there looking over this field, it became evident to me that this property really checked off most of the boxes from our point of view of lands that are really important to conserve. First of all, as everyone remembers from Tropical Storm Irene or May, this property was a very important floodplain parcel that flooded, did its job as a floodplain, absorbed a lot of the sediment that was washing down the Green River and laid it out on the property. So it has been known as an important floodplain property to conserve. A number of state studies have looked at that. So that was sort of the first thing, the first box that checked off for me. Secondly was the opportunity for public access, because that's a very important part of our mission, is to provide public access to rivers. And again, talking with Steve and Linda and some of the other community members, it became evident to me that this property would be a real complement to the existing public access at the dam site, and knowing that sometimes that site gets crowded, and this could provide some sort of relief of space to have other people, use this site as an overflow space. Third thing was over the time that I've been involved with this, I've just really been kind of like blown away by the community support for this project from the Green River Village community, but also the general, community of Guilford. They really, I think, recognized why it was important to conserve this property. And like I said, we work all over the state. We work with a lot of great communities, but this was really a kind of a standout to me about how much the community really thought this was an important project. And the fourth piece was, as Steve said, that this was a property in transition. Jay and Helena Girardi had it up for sale. We've seen this situation many times where if you don't take the opportunity to conserve it when it's in transition, you may not get that opportunity again. So this was sort of to me, a vulnerable property that it could have gone, on the real estate market and ended up not being an asset to the community as it could be. So anyway, we were happy to join in. Part of our things that we do is we have funding sources that we can access, which we did for this project. The Vermont Housing Conservation Board was a major funder, as was the Agency of Natural Resources to fund some of the project costs for the floodplain protection. A very strong public support from the community, financial support. Almost a third of the whole project cost came from the local community. And in playing that role of sort of gathering the funds together, we also basically go through all the transaction steps. So we had the property surveyed by Miranda, a good friend of yours, Paul Hannon. I think if you know Paul, did the survey work. We did all the legal work. And as Steve said, there was this period of time when the brownfield assessment was going on that one of our funding sources could not release its money until the property had what's called a certificate of completion to certify that the property was completely cleaned up and appropriate for future public use. And so that process added almost 2 years into the project timeline. And we were very fortunate that Steve and Linda were able to step up and provide some interim ownership during that time. So we're happy to say that this Thursday, hopefully at 1:00, Steve and Linda will convey the property to an organization that Vermont River Conservancy established a couple years ago called Vermont Riverlands. So Vermont Riverlands will own the property. Vermont Riverlands is a wholly owned subsidiary of Vermont River Conservancy. When that happens, Vermont River Conservancy, Vermont Riverlands will convey an easement to the Vermont Housing Conservation Board that will permanently protect the property. Basically, the allowed uses on the property will be recreational use and agricultural use. So that parcel will be forever conserved for those uses. Knock on wood, everything will come together on Thursday, and that portion of the process will be completed. We feel, and I'm speaking for Vermont Riverlands as well, that it's far better to have these properties in long-term ownership by the local communities. So we're working to see if we can eventually reconvey the property to a local organization. It would still be protected by the conservation easement, no matter who the future landowner is. So that's kind of where we're at. It's been a great project. Like I said, just fantastic support from the community, and we're happy to have been a part of it.
Thank you both for all your work.
Hang on one second, Richard. Just to close the loop a little bit, it's our intent, and I'm on the board of the Green River Village Preservation Trust, that the long-term holding of the deed is likely to be the Green River Village Preservation Trust. However, we have not closed that situation with them under any circumstance. That's not going to cost them money. They're going to be the not-for-profit to hold the deed on the property, and will be the group who would manage the property and so forth. But we're a ways away from that, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but we are talking to truly a local group who knows the village.
Yeah, it would be great if the local group could own it. Are there any questions from the
Oh,
select board?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment, which is that we're lucky to have such strong and complex partnerships in Vermont. I mean, the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board that was referred to is such a great clearinghouse for money and combiner of people, and the River Conservancy. You know, this is just a rare and wonderful thing we have going here.
Thank you, Veranda. Any other comments or discussion?
I have to make one more comment. As much as we told you what it is and what it will be, I have to also explain what it won't be. It's got a small parking area for 3 or 4 cars. It's not going to be a big recreation area. It's going to be hayed by lawn cutting. It's going to have one small trail that goes down and back. It's going to have 3 points of access to the Green River, but it's not an alternative to the Green River. To the Greenfield recreation area or anything else. So it's going to be an access. It's going to be a real resource for the community and access to the river. But it's not going to be barbecue grills and porta potties and trash bins and everything else. So right. It will fit in nicely.
Terrific. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation and for all the good work that you've done. It's definitely a benefit and an asset to our town and its beauty and its residents. So thank you very much. It's very exciting.
Thanks for your long-term support.
Okay, so let's move on with our agenda now. The annual goals. I'm sure that the select board has read the annual goals. I don't know whether we want to take the time to, do we need to ratify those goals again, Peter? You're on mute, Peter.
Sorry about that. Yes, every year the select board has to re-ratify their goals. If you simply want to approve and continue with your goals from last year, you are welcome to do so. If you want to update them similarly to what you did last year, that's your decision as well.
Yeah, I would like to make the suggestion that Miranda and Zahn, who looked at them last year, look at them again, studiously, and if you and at the next meeting, come to the next meeting with any suggestions for changes or revisions. And I would also ask that select board members contact Zahn and to read them carefully and contact Zahn and Miranda with any additions or revisions that you think should be made. I read them this afternoon again. They seem fine to me, but I'm just wondering whether they might be further exploded or further specified. Or yes, Zahn.
I just want to say that I think last year we made some good progress. We were moving kind of forward, and then obviously COVID came into our lives,
right.
And it just completely shut down. So I think it's a chance for us to sort of re-energize these and hopefully get them on our docket so that we're looking at them like once every quarter or something like that to make sure that we're keeping pace with ourselves, which we did not do at all this last year. So
I agree. Miranda?
Yes, and I'll be happy to work with Zahn again, and also for us to write a preface that really acknowledges the extraordinary circumstances that we've been living in and our dedication to Guilford's recovery.
Yes, I'd also like to say that after I read them this afternoon, I saw that there had been quite a bit of work that we have done, so that we should feel good about the fact that we were on our goals this year, even though that we had extraordinary circumstances. So I think that there is quite a bit of accomplishment that we can say that we did achieve in regard to those goals. Yes, Sheila. Hello.
Hi, guys. I think that's pretty impressive, Richard, but I think it would be great if you could report out to the town on what's happened, what you started last year, progress you've made, and where you think you're going to go in the coming year for the community. So that's all.
Okay. That's a good suggestion. We did, the select board's report had information in it that was related to the goals too, and that was in the town report. All right, moving right along. So that, Peter, we put the ratification in abeyance to be taken
that's
up in
fine.
another meeting once we have the
Yep.
report from Zahn and Miranda and the input of the select board regarding those goals.
I've made a note for including it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you. All right. The newspaper of record, Peter, would you like to speak to that?
Yep, very simply, every year the select board has to select a newspaper of record for putting out all official public notices and other matters. The only real option in our area and the choice of the select board for many years has been the Brattleboro Reformer, simply because it is a daily newspaper. We have tried using the Commons in the past, but unfortunately, because of the time frame of their publication and their once a week schedule, unfortunately, that prohibits us from complying with state statute. So the only option is for the Reformer. So if someone could make a motion to do so, that would be great.
I'll make a motion that we.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Miranda, second. Are there any discussion? Okay, I'll take the vote. The roll, Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zahn?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Okay, that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Annual appointments. We all saw the appointments that are up for appointment in the folder. Peter, do you want to speak to that, or do we?
I was just going to ask. Yeah, we have to read them out so the public can hear them. Would you like me to read the individuals to be appointed this year and the vacancies?
Yes,
and someone
thank
can make
you.
it a single motion just for all of them in one fell swoop.
That would be most efficient, Mr. Rude.
Thank you. So for road commissioner, it would be Dan Zambruski for a 1-year term. For delinquent tax collector, Penny Marine for a 1-year term. Our constable position is vacant. Emergency management director would be Peter Rude for a 1-year term. The dog officer and alternate dog officer positions are both vacant. The Conservation Commission has 2 commissioners up for reappointment. That's Bevan Quinn and Marley Rabinowitz, each for 3-year terms. The Planning Commission has 3 commissioners up for reappointment. They are Harry Evans, Tanya Balsley, and Jackie Gaines, all for 3-year appointments. The Recreation Commission has 2 commissioners up for reappointment, Valerie Racine and Jake Dixon, both for 3-year terms. For the Wyndham Regional Commission, that would be Gabby Ciufreda and Steve Lemke, each for a 1-year term. The Town Pound is Marianne Lawrence, also for a 1-year term. The Floodplain Administrator is Steve Lemke for a 1-year term. The Energy Coordinator is Gary Swindler for a 1-year term. And as I notified the Select Board, our Green Up Day Coordinator position is now vacant because Ellie Mayanen has stepped down due to other personal obligations. And so we are looking for someone to fill that in the next couple of months. The Tree Warden is Dan Zambruski for a 1-year term. The WSWMD director would be Michael Becker for a 1-year term. The alternate for WSWMD is Cheryl Franklin for a 1-year term. And the Bullock Education Scholarship Committee is Catherine Mason for a 1-year term. Last but not least is the rescue trustee for Guilford is Gordon Little for a 1-year term.
Peter, have all these folks agreed?
Excuse me, Richard.
Let me just ask Peter a question. Are all these folks that you've named agreed to being reappointed?
Frankly, the only one I forgot to ask is sitting in front of all of us right now, which is Michael, as to whether or not he would continue in his role for WSWMD. Everyone else has said yes, they would continue in their terms.
That's great. Michael, will you say yes?
I will say yes.
Okay, Michael says yes. And just one more question. Did you get in touch with John about the Green Up? position?
I did, and unfortunately, John feels that he's got too many obligations in his personal life right now and doesn't feel like he would have the time to dedicate to this. But he and I had a very nice conversation. He said if things change in his personal life over the next year, he will certainly consider it for next year.
Okay, thank you. Veranda?
Valerie Racine is moving, and so she won't be on the Rec Commission. She resigned a while ago, and I believe that we confirmed Mary Wallace Collins, although I'm not sure if she took over Valerie's position or not. But anyway, we can't vote for Valerie because she's not around.
Okay, thank you for that correction, Veranda. Yes, you did appoint Mary Wallace Collins last year for a 3-year term, so her term will expire in 2023.
Okay.
So do we
But
need
thank you
someone?
for that.
Do we need someone to take Valerie's?
I'll discuss it with the Rec Commission,
Okay,
and we'll deal with it later.
very good.
Thank you, Veranda.
So is there a motion to reappoint those so named? But Zahn has made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Rusty has seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, I shall take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zahn? Veranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Thank you very much. The audit review. Peter, would you like to speak to that 70 pages?
Yes, I'm not going to speak 70 pages worth, but as I shared with the select board over the past 5 days or so, we have finally received a draft copy of our professional auditors' financial statement and independent reports. Overall, in brief, it is a positive report this year, as similar to the past few years. The main concern they had was, which was expressed, and Penny gave a written response to it, was their concern over the lack of preparation and lack of availability of documents from the treasurer and assistant treasurer. And so, yeah, that's the main negative to the report. There is, I also shared a brief governance letter, which basically is just a quick explanation of the role of a third-party auditor in relationship to their responsibilities to us in hiring them. And then there's just a letter of approval saying that you have reviewed it and you agree with the disclosures, notes, and findings therein.
I wonder, since Sheila's here, I wonder before whether you think it's a good idea to have the Finance Advisory Committee or representatives of the Finance Advisory Committee look at the audit before the select board approves. Do you think that that's not necessary, Sheila?
I was going to ask if the finance committee could have a copy of it. I don't know. I can't think of a reason why, based on Peter's summary right now, why the finance committee might object to the select board signing it. However, I'm thinking that there's information in there that informs prior discussions about budgets and taxation that we would want to have a really careful look at.
Good. So Peter, can you transmit it to Sheila?
Yeah, I'll just share the document with the entire finance committee.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Sheila?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I was just saying, so I don't see, if you don't see any reason why we shouldn't go forward with it, I think it would be good to do that tonight to approve the audit. Does people agree with me?
I just wanted to add that we do have a deadline from the auditors at the end of March for approval. Otherwise, there could be some other complications in our relationship with them. So,
And it's customary to approve it at this particular meeting, the first meeting of the select board in March.
no.
Oh,
We
no?
normally have this information generally in October at the latest.
Yeah.
And so it's normally the last meeting in October or first meeting of November is generally when the select board approves it, traditionally.
Sheila?
Richard, I think the next meeting is the
22nd.
So you've got enough time for everybody to take a careful look at the audit, the letters, the recommendations, the finance committee to look, and then come to an agreement on the 22nd, which I think is perfectly adequate for everybody's needs. And, I like Peter's summary, but it's always nice to be able to look in the details.
Oh, sure. No, when I saw that it was up in our folder, I wanted to make sure that the Finance Advisory Committee sees the audit. That's part of what their charge is, actually, is to look at the audit. So, okay, we'll do it that way. So it is, if the select board is in agreement with that we'll wait on the Finance Advisory Committee advice regarding the audit. And then we will.
Or lack thereof.
Then we will take that up at our next meeting. Is that good,
Richard,
folks?
can we at least get, can I just, since this is currently in draft form and only meant for the eyes of the select board from the auditors until it's finally approved, then it will become public information. Could we at least get a straw poll from the select board members if they feel comfortable with this? I'm assuming you do, but I just wanted for clarity purposes for the public.
So that's the question I just asked.
I'd like to see the finance committee, review it and advise us for sure.
Okay, Rusty, do you have any comment?
No, I agree.
Okay, Zahn?
I agree.
I agree. Veranda?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there's your poll.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So it will be transmitted to the Finance Advisory Committee. Sheila?
I just want to say goodbye. Thank you.
Oh, goodbye and thank you. Nice to see
everybody's
you.
faces.
Good night.
Okay, so now do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the 22 February meeting? Brenda, you motion yes? Okay,
Yes.
Brenda's motion. Do I have a second? Okay, Zahn has seconded. Is there any discussion? I'll take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zahn?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Okay, that passes. Highway update.
Yes.
Road postings.
Yep. So we got two quick things to cover here for under the highway. I spoke with actually was in the office on Thursday and went over to the town garage and just happened to see all the road crew were there at one time. The break in our snowfall of recent has enabled our road crew to work on a few other items recently, which they've appreciated. The biggest of which is they've been doing service and maintenance to most of the town equipment, something that has been needed since the fall. So Dan has been happy to get that work done. So they were finishing that up. They've also been hauling more sand to get ready for another snowstorm or should we get some ice in the future. Cutting some more brush and a few other random things here and there, but they've been appreciating the break in the snow. The second item that Dan has requested from the select board is to post the following roads, and I will read this out as we are required to do. For state highways, 2-axle trucks shall not exceed 20,000 pounds. Town highways, class 1, 2, 3, and 4 shall not exceed 15,000 pounds. 3-axle trucks on state highways shall not exceed 30,000 pounds. And on town highways, 1 through 4 shall not exceed 18,000 pounds. Tractor trailer units on state highways shall not exceed 40,000 pounds, and on town highways shall not exceed 20,000 pounds. The following roads shall be posted for mud season: Stage Road, River Road, Green River Road, Heinsberg Road, and all gravel sections off of Heinsberg Road, Collier Road, Hale Road, Briggs Road, Lee Road, Hayes Road, Bonnievale Road, Ashworth Road, Carpenter Hill Road, Senator Hunt Road, Potter Hill Road, Barney Hill Road, Fitch Road, Bullock Road, Oak Hill Road, Fairground Road, Stony Hill Road, Baker Cross Road, Sweet Pond Road, Packer Corner Road, Keats Brook Road, Tater Lane, Creamery Road, Melody Lane, Butternut Hill Road, Slate Rock Road, and East Mountain Road.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Moving right along.
No,
Up
Richard, I need a motion, please, to post
To-
those.
to post those. Okay.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to post those roads?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thanks, Rusty. And do I have a second? Miranda, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, I shall take the roll. Rusty? Michael?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Okay, that's passed. Thank you very much. And Zahn, on to you, the DVFiber update.
Okay, thank you. Quickly, 4 things, just very quickly. We're up to 21 towns now in the district. Winhall has just joined in the last while. In the last month, we've entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Southern Vermont CUD, which is the western side of the state. 13 towns over there. It's not any kind of formal relationship. It's just an understanding that we want to work together as this all goes forward to try to bring broadband to everyone. The DVFiber has recently issued an RFP for us to be able to enter into a public-private relationship, which will be the relationship that will actually begin to do all the work that we hope to have done. The deadline for that RFP is at the end of this month, and hopefully we'll be in relationship through negotiations and everything by the middle of May, the beginning of June, with a provider contractor that will be doing the work that we envision being done. And then the 4th thing is very simple, probably happen at our next meeting or shortly after that. We need to reappoint, the select board needs to reappoint a representative and at least 1 alternate. We can appoint more alternates if we want. Some towns have as many as 3 alternates. And this is all just to get people to work. There are now about 60 people working on this project in southeastern Vermont. So it's really impressive, the number of people. So there you go.
Thank you very much. Then thank you for your work.
I just have a quick question, Zahn.
Rusty,
Zahn,
yes?
does that consolidated cable that's been running through Guilford have anything to do with that?
No, that is a separate project that they've made a commitment to do. They're going to be part of their work in this RDOF auction that came down. They've made a commitment to entering into a number of really high focus areas like Brattleboro. Just so happens they're reaching into Guilford as part of that project. But it's not anything, we don't have any connection to it.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Zahn? Very good. Peter, a COVID update, please.
Yes, so the COVID caseload in Vermont has, as I'm sure many people have heard, been kind of up and down of recent. However, the state has been slowly seeing a gradual decrease in the average weekly cases, and this is exactly what we want to be seeing. So that's a positive note. For those who haven't heard, beginning on the 1st of March, anyone who is at least 2 weeks or more after their 2nd dose of the COVID vaccine will no longer need to quarantine when entering Vermont or returning home to Vermont. So the key there is 2 weeks past your 2nd vaccine. All Vermonters and all visitors who have not received the quarantine or the vaccine must continue to quarantine for 7 days, followed by a negative test, or 14 days with no symptoms. The scheduling of vaccinations for all Vermonters 65 and older opened up last week, and starting today, for those Vermonters who are 55 and older who have high-risk conditions are eligible for scheduling a vaccine. For a detailed list of all eligible high-risk conditions, please visit healthvermont.gov/myvaccine. The state anticipates providing all Vermont K-12 educators with information on when and how they can get vaccinated within the next week or two. And to date, almost 114,000 Vermonters, or approximately 21% of the population, have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine, and just over 61,000 Vermonters have received both doses. Last but not least, Effective as of last Friday, individuals or households that have received both doses of your vaccine may now gather with another household or individual who has also received both your doses of your vaccine without the need to quarantine or be tested afterwards. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Peter. I want to add to that I just read from Mark Levine, the state's medical director, that unfortunately they've discovered the new strain, the strain from the UK in Burlington. So the first case of that strain has been detected in Vermont. But Dr. Levine said that was to be expected, and I certainly expected that would happen in Vermont too. So let's just hope it doesn't go much further. Thank you very much for those reports. Any questions or comments? Okay, moving right on to the warrants. Who's doing the warrants?
I'm doing the warrants.
Well, thank you, Ms. Porch.
Okay. I move that we do the following warrants. Payroll February 28th, 2021 for the sum of $6,850.01. Payroll for week 3/7/21 for the sum of $6,632.58. Expense warrant 2016 for the sum of $40,677.26 for a total of $54,159.85. A long day here, sorry.
Very, very good. Is there any, do I have a second? Thank you, Zahn. Is there any discussion? Very good, then I shall take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zahn?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. So the warrants are passed. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to move that premature knowledge of discussions could potentially put the town at significant disadvantage. I'd like to move that we enter executive session.
Nope, those are two separate
Okay.
motions, Richard. So if you need a second on that one, please.
Okay, so I am moving that premature knowledge of discussions could potentially put the town at significant disadvantage. Can I have a second for that? Okay, thank you, Veranda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, Rusty,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Zahn,
Aye.
Veranda,
Aye.
Richard, aye. And then I move to enter executive session and invite Peter Rood per 1 VSA statute 313A1E on pending or probable civil litigation to which the body may potentially be a party. Do I have a second for that?
Richard, before you get a second, may I ask you to amend your motion to also include Pat Bew, the town's attorney, on the matter?
Oh, I didn't know that she was going to be there.
She contacted me late today and asked
Good,
if she
I'm
could be
glad.
included.
Yep. So I would like to amend the motion then to include Pat and Peter. Do I have a second? Thank you, Zahn. Is there any discussion? I shall take the roll then. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zahn?
Aye, and I'd like to say thank you to Leslie for the beautiful town report.
Yes, Leslie, thank you. And Veranda?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Okay, so we are going, hi, Leslie, thank you very much. Nice to see you. It was splendid work. Okay,
Thank you.
so we'll get Peter has sent out the executive session. Remember to sign out of this meeting, please. And then Peter has given you the access to the next meeting. See you on the other side. The Guilford Select Board exited its executive session at 7:37 p.m. and will act on the advice of the town's attorney. Okay, back to our agenda. And let's see, Peter, I think we have communications. Yes.
Yep. So were no communications in the past 2 weeks, and there's no review on the action summary from the previous meeting because you took no actions aside from approving of the minutes at the last meeting. As far as actions from this meeting, give me 2 seconds here. So actions, there were quite a few actions in this meeting. Richard was elected as chair and Veranda as vice chair. The select board rules of procedure were readopted for the new year. The select board annual goals are going to be reviewed by Zahn and Veranda with input from other board members to be discussed at the next select board meeting. The select board chose the Brattleboro Reformer as the newspaper of record. The select board made a slew of appointments, of which I will not detail at the moment. The select board posted the usual town roads for mud season, and obviously you approved the warrants, and that was all of the actions taken from this meeting. And there are no. The one action to be taken is by me, and that is for me to share the draft financial report from the town auditors with the Finance Advisory Committee for their review and reporting back to the select board.
And 2, put out a doodle poll to schedule the hearing.
Sure.
That's an action to be taken.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Well,
And,
yeah.
I think we agreed you were going to send out the document you needed signed.
The
Yep.
Conflict
The
of
conflict of interest.
statement.
Yes. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? I think we're ready to.
Yeah. Richard, you could always too.
Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Okay. Do I have a second? Zahn and Veranda, both. Is there any discussion?
It's been lovely.
Thank you. I agree. I shall take the roll. Zahn,
Aye.
Michael,
Hi.
Veranda,
Aye.
Rusty,
Aye.
Richard. Aye. The motion is carried, and let me say that thanks for the opportunity of working with you again. I think this is a good select board, and I think we've done good work. And I say that sincerely, and it's a pleasure serving with you. So thank you very much, and have a great evening.